Dak or Russ, who you taking in fantasy this year? We'll talk about it right now on FFT in 5. Adam Hazer and Jamie Eisenberg, your Friday edition if you're listening, your Thursday afternoon edition if you're watching. We're going to talk about these two quarterbacks, Dak Prescott versus Russell Wilson. Jamie, you get the first word. Who are you taking? I will try to argue the other way. Go for it.
I'm taking Russell Wilson. Love the potential for him going to Denver. I think we're going to see the best of Russ. He will cook to his highest degree. Love the setup for what they're saying out of Denver with allowing him to be in command of the offense. And so I think his receivers, while maybe not at the high end of what DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett have been, I don't think we'll be far off. And I think it's the deepest receiving core that he's had when you factor in Tim Patrick as the third guy behind both Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, Alberto and Greg Dulcich at the tight end spot. And I think the running backs will make plays out of the backfield. So I like the setup for Russ a lot. Not that I don't like Dak. And I think by the time we get to most drafts, Dak will be cheaper than Russ, which I'll always lean toward. But in terms of who has the higher ceiling based on the show we just did, I will take Russell Wilson.
You know, it's weird. I feel like there are more arguments for Dak Prescott than Russell Wilson, unless you're just saying, well, they didn't adequately replace Amari Cooper, and that's going to lead to a downtick in his numbers. But 3 seasons ago, Dak Prescott was, I want to say, the number 2 quarterback in fantasy. Yeah, he was number 2. I think he was number 4 per game. Then 2 seasons ago, he was actually, again, number 4 per game, but was probably even better than that because he left one game with an injury. And, of course, he was throwing over 50 times a game, but he got off to that incredible start. And then last year, he was number 7 per game. So he's been number 4, and number 7 per game in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. In 4-point per passing touchdown leagues, he's been number 2, number 1, and number 8 in points per game. That's better than Wilson, really. I mean, I think, it's a slightly better resume recently. Yeah, the Broncos are going to let Russ cook. They're going to throw. They're not going to throw more than the Cowboys. I don't think anyway. This is a high pass volume offense under Kellen Moore. And I think Dak Prescott's probably going to run for more yards because last year the rushing yards were down, but if he gets back to where he was before coming off that gruesome injury, he's probably going to outrush Russell Wilson too. That's my argument for Dak.
I don't disagree with what you said in a lot of those points, but I do think that, just in terms of if you put both these guys on the Broncos right now, who would you prefer?
Oh boy, that's a great question. I think Russell Wilson.
Put both of them on the Cowboys, who would you prefer?
I feel like that should be the same answer.
So I think with the change of scenario, like if this was Russ on Seattle, I would take Dak in Dallas. Even given the weapons there. But we saw Russ get off to a good start prior to breaking his finger last season. I think the rushing will be somewhat closer than you think, because I do think Russ will run a little bit more than we've seen the last couple of years because he will have opportunities to. But I look, they should be ranked close. They should be debated. I just have a feeling that Russell Wilson, like one of my bold predictions, Chris Towers just posted this, it's in our magazine, is Russ could be the number 1 quarterback this year. I don't know if Dak has that ceiling because of his receiving core. I think Russell's the receiving quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And it's weird because Dak has shown that ceiling, but it doesn't feel like he has as high of a ceiling.
I mean, Russ did once upon a time.
Russ was a QB1. It was the worst QB1 finish in at least 11 years. I think 11 years. But I'm pretty sure Dak Prescott averaged more points per game in 2019 than Wilson did in 2017, which I believe was his QB1 season. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That 2019 season, maybe I should just look it up, right? That 2019 season, Dak Prescott was QB2, and he threw for 4,900 yards and 30 touchdowns in 16 games. They didn't have CeeDee Lamb. They had Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup that year. So I'm with you. I'm taking Wilson. I don't want to sell Dak Prescott short. I feel like I don't know why, Jamie, I don't give him the same upside as I do Wilson, but I don't.
I think in terms, it's like when we talk about the quarterback spot, the top 6 or 7 guys that are going to get drafted: Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Lamar, Kyler. I'm going to put Jalen Hurts in that group. I don't know if his ADP will put him in that group, but I'm going to put Hurts in that group. and Brady. Those feel like I don't want to say a consensus top 8. Those are going to be in terms of rankings and drafting. Then you have Burrow, who's going to get drafted in that group. Okay. Once you get past Burrow, essentially, or you want to say Hurts, then it's Russ, it's Dak, it's Rodgers, Cousins, Carr, and Lance. And it feels like Dak just gets lost and not discussed.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
And I'm fine with waiting on him and taking him because I do think, like I said, even though I think Russell Wilson has QB1 upside, if Jalen Tolbert's legit, if Gallup is back, whatever they get at James Washington, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, how they play, run game struggles, he could be in that conversation.
And interestingly enough, on Fantasy Pros, Dak Prescott is QB8 and Russell Wilson is QB9. All right, we will talk to you tomorrow. Jacob Gibbs joining us with some player profiles. Gabriel Davis will be one of them that you'll hear this weekend. Thanks, everybody. See you.